Shall
Yes.
we? Before we start, I think, uh, ladies and gentlemen, so we have today our one of our very interesting lecture series under our Center of Excellence of the university. Now we have with us today Professor Farooq Mistry and Professor Janetal, very senior professors from the System Realization Laboratory at the University of Oklahoma, USA. And they'll be connecting us various aspects of socio-economic development and the significance of information engineering, and more broadly, we can say cyber physical systems. And as a welcome note, I request Professor Bobby Phillip, our Joint Director of the University, to deliver our welcome note to our honorable guest for the day. Please, Bobby.
Thank you, sir, Prince sir. As you just heard, it's a talk organized under the Center of Excellence on AI and ML and robotics under our university. And the title is the grand challenges as cyber physical social systems, because as you know, computing devices are getting into our lives, and it is transforming our life. We know that. So as machines are making more foray into our life, we need to be actually consider their presence to define things, design things, and to evolve into a new realm where we have to coexist with them. And in this respect, Professor Mistry is a renowned expert, and he has designed courses and on this, and he has been a leading researcher in this field for a quite long time. And he's actually a renowned person in the field of engineering in India as well as US, and he has been acting as mentor to many institutes of national importance in India, and he has been recently mentoring IIT Jodhpur, and he's an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur, and he has received many claims and awards, including Paul and Betts Icon Award in January 2023, a Lifetime Achievement Award from International Society for Agile Manufacturing, a Distinguished Alumnus Award from Indian Institute of Technology in 2012, and ISME Ruth and Joel Spira Outstanding Engineering Design Educator Award in 2011. So, as an eminent person working and mentoring in working in the area of cyber physical systems, and as a as a very expert in terms of mentoring and people in shaping their careers, expanding the research. So in many ways, he has been an active, uh, mm, uh, inspiring person for many people, many researchers, many youngsters in India and abroad. I'm really proud to introduce Farooq sir to this event, and in fact, he is joined by his wife, his wife Janet Allen, and she is also the professor with the Systems Realization Laboratory in University of Oklahoma, United States. And we are very much thankful to you, sir, for accepting our invitation even at short notice. And in fact, he has been traveling quite a lot recently, and he just agreed to that, and I thank him for that. And without further additions, I just invite Farooq sir to address the gathering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bobby and Praveen. It is a great pleasure and honor for Janet and me to share these ideas with you. Both of us are extremely high on India and see great opportunities for collaboration. And we are particularly interested in working with people in India in terms of teaching, research, and whatever else needs to be done. So to provide the context, our intent in this talk is to seed in the context of India's National Education Program 2020, a conversation that results in collaborative actions. So our focus here is to say, aha, we think the National Education Program 2020 is superb. And in the context of that program, we want to see collaboration or explore possibilities of collaboration with faculty in India. What the area in which we want to explore is looking at grand challenges, and we'll explain what that is, as evolving cyber-physical social systems. That's what Praveen and Bobby asked us to talk about, cyber-physical social systems, and we want to tie it to grand challenges and put it in that context. Why is that important? A grand challenge is a significant, complex problem in science and engineering or society that requires innovative solutions and collaborative efforts. That's very important. Collaborative efforts. You can't do a grand challenge like deal with healthcare or climate on your own. These challenges are ambitious but achievable, that harness science, technology, and innovation to solve important national or global problems. So grand challenges are national or global problems. So in this talk, with the aim of seeding a conversation, so we have to do chit chat after this. So it's no good coming along and everybody keeping quiet or anything like that. We have to chit chat, and we hope that we will have monthly meetings or a meeting every 2 weeks to take it further and see what we can do together to establish collaboration. So we want to identify the principles anchored in Industry 4.0 and 5.0 that are foundational to addressing grand challenges, and we hypothesize that all grand challenges can be modeled as cyber-physical social systems, and then identify some issues that merit further discussion. So what are the opportunities for collaboration with the Systems Realization Laboratory at the University of Oklahoma? We observed that India's GDP nominal ranks 5th in the world. India's GDP per capita ranks 131 in the world. This is not something to be proud about, because what it means is that there's a huge difference between those who have the money and those who do not have the money in India. When I was at IIT Jodhpur, I found out that over 100 million people in India are at the bottom of the socio-economic pyramid. 100 million. Now, if we are able to bring those 100 million into the economy, the GDP will go up. India's GDP per capita ranks 31 in Asia. That again is not something to be proud about. Now, Modi has come along and said, make in India. The manufacturing sector accounts for 13% of the GDP, only 13. The service sector accounts for 53% of the GDP. And MSMEs account for 27% of the GDP. So if you look at these numbers, there's a lot of opportunity for universities, for institutions of higher education to come up with their strategic plan to be different from other institutions in India. Now, what is an MSME? Here, I'm focusing on small and medium-sized enterprises. We also have a huge number of micro enterprises. Micro enterprises are in the villages, in the rural sector in India, and those are the sectors that you can empower to create wealth and move the India's GDP per capita higher. There are 4 things in the National Education Program 2020 that we're going to touch upon and that are foundational to our talk today. One is there's an emphasis on nation building. This is a very important issue. All institutions of higher education are required, encouraged, empowered for nation building. And the government has put out a huge amount of money that deals with this notion of nation building. There's rural development, there's development of small and medium-sized enterprises, there's development for industry, all sorts of stuff and programs are available. The second thing that is embodied in the National Education Program 2020 is that there needs to be collaboration between faculty within the university itself and between universities in India. So I was very pleased to learn from Praveen that there are going to be faculty from other universities in Kerala in this talk. So that is a very positive statement that one can think in terms of faculty at different academic institutions in Kerala getting together, working with us to move things forward. The third point that has been made is that collaboration between faculty in India and abroad. So once you have a group of faculty working in India, then we can work with you and put you in touch with other faculty in the United States and around the world to collaborate with you in the area of your interest. The fourth point that has been made that that is foundational to our talk today is we need to promote transdisciplinary activities. What does that mean? It is not when collaboration takes place between mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, one may call it multidisciplinary. But when collaboration takes place between engineering and the social sciences, or engineering and the humanities, or humanities and the social sciences, or humanities, social sciences, and business, humanities, social sciences, business, and engineering, that's transdisciplinary. So these are the four points from the National Education Program that we resonate with, and we are interested in working with people in India to make this happen. So now for KTU, that's the APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University and nation building, what is it that we can offer? So today's talk, we focused on 2 points, and that is to seed the conversation. One is to contribute to nation building in the rural sector. Over 100 million people living in the rural sector. So if we thought in terms of how can we increase the disposable income of micro entrepreneurs, that's farmers, those dudwalas, the people who make milk, the agrarian people, the people who make who do handicrafts, whatever. How can we improve their disposable income? Why disposable income? Because when you increase the disposable income of a human being, the person is able to respect himself and say, okay, I have hope for the future, and think in terms of investing and improving their quality of life. The second point that we are particularly interested in is that the current government came out with this mantra of Make in India. The implication in Make in India is that the design comes from elsewhere and you manufacture it. And as you've seen in China, the United States has come along and said, hey, guess what? We are not so comfortable with your politics. So people are moving out of manufacturing. But if you design and make, you're self-sufficient. You can design it, you can make it, you can do it in the way you want to do it. So we are heavily invested in both improving the nation building in the rural sector and in transitioning from Make in India to design and make in India. And that could be part of our conversation. Specifically, in terms of KTU and the Systems Realization Laboratory at OU, we are focused on designing evolving cyber-physical social systems for rural development, looking at designing as a service, dynamic management of engineered systems, and experiential learning. In each of these categories, we are able to identify research issues that will allow us to publish together, co-author papers together, and also bring about change at the institutional level. So now a rhetorical question: what is the role of a higher education institute in India? And this, we want to share what is called a Farrukhism or a Janatism. A Farrukhism and a Janatism is a strongly held belief that others disagree with. And the beauty of that is that you will have many different perspectives to choose from. But you can, that is good, but you can only choose from them if you know yourself, if you know what your strategic vision is going to be. So the next part of this talk is to help you identify your strategic vision in terms of where you want to be and what you want to be known for. So as a Janatism and a Farrukhism, a role of an academic institution of higher learning from a systems perspective, this is from a transdisciplinary systems perspective, is to provide an opportunity for undergraduate students, research scholars, and faculty to learn how to create economic value, social value, intellectual value, and be able to maximize the nexus between the three. And you will see here's the picture: intellectual, economic, and social value. And here is Abdul Kalam Technological University. And we suggest, this is the Farukism and Ajanitism, that this is the role that you could play to make it happen. So what is the ramification? Today we want to touch upon the following thing. We're looking at 2047. Why 2047? That happens to be the 100th year of India's independence. And the question that we are suggesting that we look at is, where would Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University be in the year 2047? And we are suggesting that what we are looking at here is that this institution will be focused on educating entrepreneurs from the intellectual side. In other words, people who come along and find a gap, like professors, and say, this is a gap in the research area, we're going to fix it, we're going to publish it. So the professor becomes an entrepreneur. You're looking at the economic side, saying, all right, we're going to have startups. This is the gap, this needs to be filled. You need to create a solution for that makes money. On the social side, this is the gap that we see: inequity in gender inequities, etc., etc. We want to fix that. We want to fix the education side of things. How do we make it happen? In each of these cases, we suggest that what is needed are entrepreneurs, not people who are necessarily going out and looking for a job to work with a multinational corporation or something like that, but people who have that within them to say, we are going to add value, do things differently, so that we're able to contribute to nation building. So now here is a question. Let us start by saying that your institution is interested in empowering lives to catalyze development. Empowering lives to catalyze development. These lives could be people at the bottom of the socioeconomic pyramid, or people at the top, like the Ambanis, the Tatas, and all these sorts of people. It doesn't matter. It's the idea of empowering lives across the spectrum of Indian society to catalyze development. So what are the foundational principles that we subscribe to? We work with Sanmoksha, and we've created a team of scholars and people on the ground from Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, and India to work in this area. We embrace four foundational principles. One is Gandhi's notion of self-sufficiency. In other words, India needs to be self-sufficient. It doesn't need to import designs and stuff from elsewhere. It needs to say, we are going to design and make in India. Two, this comes from APJ Abdul Kalam. He said one of the major problems in India is people from the villages moving to the cities. And what he said is that you want to provide amenities, services, amenities to the rural sector that are available in the towns. So you are not interested in having people move from the villages to the towns. Amartya Sen, he got the Nobel Prize in Economics. And what he came out and said was that you don't measure the wellness of a nation or the strength of a nation using the GDP. What you need to focus on is capacity building. We think this is a very important issue. What does capacity building mean? It means that you take a person at one level and say that person can do more. That person can move up in the socioeconomic pyramid. And so that includes education, that includes training, that includes apprenticeship, that includes giving people competencies and skills so that they're able to move forward and upwards. Why is this important? This is a grand challenge for India. A grand challenge for India is, how do you go about with the capacity building from the rural sector all the way to the high-tech sector? How do you make that happen? That is a grand challenge. And it is up to your institution to come along and say, within this firmament, this is what we are going to do over the next 10, 15 years to make it happen. You can't do everything, but it sets yourself apart. It sets your state apart. It sets your institutions apart from the rest of the country to make it happen. The fourth one is United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. This provides the framework. Each of them represents a grand challenge in terms of coming up with your program. So here is a picture. Out here, you will see here is a cyber-physical social system. There's a human being. There's a human being in that, and that human being has been networked to make things happen. So we are looking at a human being involved with the cyber-physical system that addresses social problems. So looking forward, one possible goal is sustainable cities. That's a grand challenge. How do you come up with a sustainable city? Or if you take into account what Kalam has said, how do you come along and deal with providing amenities to villages so that people do not move from the villages to the cities? The next one here, number 5, is gender equality. There has to be equality in terms of gender, in terms of caste, in terms of religion. That is a very important issue. So it's not just gender equality, it is the idea of how does society harmonize the power of different people, of different beliefs. How do you harmonize that to move forward towards nation building for India? The third one is number 12, and that is responsible consumption. Responsible consumption is extremely important. Let me give you an example. In India, we need water. Okay, so you need water. So what you can do is to put a pump and give a solar panel, and the pump will take out lots and lots of water. And we have seen that this water is wasted. It goes to some of the plants and then it's wasted. That is SDG 7. That's 7 out here. Okay. Now, if you only implement 7, you're going to have wasted water. That is bounded by 12, which says responsible consumption. In other words, you put a timer out there and say, okay, once the fields have been watered, the thing stops. Those are the goals. Now, people talk about climate, life below water, life on land. These are grand challenges, and these are made up of many, many smaller challenges. For example, sustainable cities, coming up with equality in the society, coming up with responsible consumption. The same thing is true in terms of life below water and life on land. And you will see these are at the back of our mind. These are the higher level goals, but this is how we are going to achieve these higher level goals. And then at the top, these are grand challenges also. Hunger. In India, there are people in the villages who go hungry. If you go to the cities, you have people who live on the streets and they are hungry. Education. Education, for example, at IIT Jodhpur, the place is being built. And so there are workers out there. What happens to their children? There is no school for the children to go to. Those children will have to continue to be workers who don't have an education. They just go and do the daily wage and stuff along those lines. That's an inequity that needs to be fixed. Healthcare. For example, in India, the infant mortality rate in villages is much, much, much higher than the towns and the cities. Why is that the case? Because the women are not educated in terms of nutrition, in terms of hygiene, in terms of exercise and things along those lines. So these are big issues, but these are issues that can be addressed as grand challenges as well. And if you look at the bottom, these are enablers. We want clean energy. We want economic growth. We want clean water and energy. Okay, so this represents the matrix. So this is put together in the form of a matrix for the institutions in Kerala to look at and say, aha, this institution is going to do this, this institution is going to do this. Together, we'll be able to do something bigger. So now, coming to Industry 4.0 and 5.0, what's the difference? And it is very important that you understand the difference. Industry 4.0 deals with cyber-physical. It only deals with cyber-physical. It does not deal with the social part of it. It represents the digital transformation of industries. It involves the integration of technologies such as integration of things, cloud computing, analytics, AI, and machine learning. It leads to real-time decision-making, enhanced productivity, flexibility, and agility. The human is not part of this. It uses advanced sensors embedded in software, robotics for data collection and analysis. And I suspect that the engineering colleges are focused on that alone. That is not good enough anymore. The EU 2 years ago adopted something called Industry 5.0. Industry 4.0 was proposed in Germany and was adopted in Germany and then taken off elsewhere. In Industry 5.0, we emphasize the collaboration between humans and machines, the collaboration between humans and machines. Humans are understood by people in the social sciences, and their behavior is categorized. Humans come from the business side as well, the humanities side as well, the philosophers as well. It addresses the relationship between humans and machine, otherwise known as robots or cobots. It integrates human creativity with robotic precision. It aims to create sustainable products and services. You cannot have a sustainable product or a service without a human being in the loop. This is a Farukism and a Jainism. It's a very, very subtle and important issue. It requires people from different disciplines, not just mechanical, electrical, but from humanities, social sciences to work together. What Industry 5.0 does is it reintroduces the human element into the equation and emphasizes product customization and collaborating between workers and intelligent machines. This is extremely important. I have picked this up from Microsoft Copilot. I went into a discussion with Microsoft Copilot, and this is the essence of what came out. So now it's up to Jenna.
So beginning to think about what engineers and educators can do, we're thinking about Industry 5.0 and cyber-physical social systems. So in Industry 5.0, we begin to think about human intervention, human interaction with cyber-physical social systems. Now, we've been designing cyber-physical systems for years, but we now need to think about how humans interact with them. And we're thinking about how, and we are considering how you design products, processes, services, and systems. These are the key points that we can think about. But you can't do all of these things. It's totally impossible. You have, excuse me, you have to choose a few things to focus on. And I'm going to be talking in the next few slides about some of the things that we will be talking of, possible things we can talk about. So here we have some of the turns out to be red. Don't.
Laser point.
Yeah, but
You don't want to highlight stuff you want to do to laser point.
I understand, right? But let me don't take it away. So right now we're talking about possibilities for the Internet of People, how people get together, the Internet of Services, the Internet of Things, and Internet of Commerce. All of these things have come into being in the last few years, and they provide opportunities. But you need to consider how these all interact with humans, people, computing, businesses, and systems. So when you find out how humans and businesses interact, we are talking about the design for user experiences. So when we are considering design, we consider how user experiences are related to what is possible for an engineer to develop. When we look at businesses and cybernetics, we are using design as strategic engineering. Again, we need to focus on some particular thing that you want to look at. Here are some options. Cybernetics and systems, design with smart sensing AI technologies. So this is something that is becoming more popular right now, and people are designing smart sensing and AI technologies. And last but not least, human and systems, design for human cyber physical systems. All of this comes together in what we are thinking about as design engineering and cyber industry 5.0. This is an old slide. This should be industry 5.0 here. So putting these together, you can think about, how do I change it?
I've done it.
Okay. No. Ah. All right. So we have research opportunities here. And so what is happening, like in the last slide, we've got humans, we've got systems, we've got cybernetics here, and we have businesses here. Industry is in the center, and this is what universities can do or consider or introduce students to that will help industries. So embodiment design, detailed design, functional requirements, design parameters, end-of-life service. All of these are things that universities can teach, but out here are things that industry is interested in. Digital twins, digital product design, workplace design, smart connected products, modular design. All of these things on the outside of the loop are enablers are possibilities for universities to help industry with. And if you do not interact with industry, it will be much more difficult for you to teach students that want to go into industry in the future. So you need to identify from this diagram whether you're going to focus on human interactions, business interactions, cybernetics, computing, or systems issues, and then consider how you will hook together the systems and the cybernetics, the systems and the human, or the systems and business, whatever it is. In this case, if you're looking at business and human, you're looking at social issues, who is going to do it, physical interest issues in human and systems, what is going to do it, between systems and cybernetics, who, what, where are going to be issues that need to be considered, and business and cybernetics service, how, when, where. These are things that need to be considered. More about this is available in this paper that we've written, and I believe the reference to it is on the first page of our talk. So you need to focus on specific possibilities. Specific possibilities, and you need to, so some possibilities here are smart and connected products, end-to-end digital integration, customization and personalization, data-driven design, digital twins, that's popular right now, and intelligent design automation. Extended supply chains, they can be very fragile and destroy your product. And you need to define ways that they can be agile and how collaboration can occur. Open innovation, co-creation, and crowdsourcing, these are important issues. Product services, servitization, and anything as a service, that's another important issue that you could choose to focus on. And platformization in the sharing economy. All of these issues are important. you need to choose one or two at the most to determine what you will be known for, what you want to develop and focus on first. So first, thinking about cyber-physical social systems and the Internet of Systems. So services, sorry. There is a big discussion in India that perhaps what we need is a way of servicing people, not necessarily developing the highest, most advanced technology, but putting together things that can be useful in villages, whether or not they are well at the cutting edge of intellectual edge or not, but things that are useful and can help people that are reliable and resilient and robust to changes. So we have rapidly changing technologies, customer requirements and preferences, and sometimes these are useful, but sometimes they're not. And you have to be able to identify ways of implementing services that are of use to the whole range of society. Issues are how to design products and systems that are resilient, suitable, and can adapt to a changing conditions, especially when the change can be not be anticipated at design time. So this is an important issue. How to develop standards for interfacing using physical entities and their digital twins across the entire ecosystem, from design to product realization, and I would add to end-of-life issues. So sustainability, recycling, reuse, that sort of thing. Can digital twins of design variants considered during parameter selection and optimization phase of the design be used to rapidly respond to disruptions that affect production processes? Again, flexibility, response, changing things. These are important issues that need to be considered. So next we move on to the Internet of People. So when you are thinking about the Internet of People, we are thinking about the distinction between physical and digital selves of individuals. In other words, digital twins or digital threads are issues. And what will be happening as we go along is the digital and the actual or the human issues, the physical issues, will become more and more blurred as we collect more data and use more information. So this is going to be happening. We want to provide roles for individuals as being able to create and consume technology as well. So they'll be doing both things, creating and consuming technology most effectively. We want to understand how user preferences evolve and change. So for instance, you think about your telephone, how that has evolved over the years as users demand more and more of their telephones, and that's an important thing to consider or provide opportunities for as you are designing something. We want to understand how users interact with the products and between themselves, and these will be drivers of social, cyber-social physical systems. The challenges we can address are how to foster an innovation ecosystem where consumers and design engineers play a creative role in shaping the systems of the future. And we want to understand how to develop a workforce that stays in tune with this changing technological landscape. And of course, this is a big place where universities can play a role. Next, we can think about some drivers related to the Internet of Things. So networks provide, and prevalence of IoTs will make data easily accessible. So there'll be a huge amount of data. You'll need to identify which is relevant and how you can manage large quantities of data, and sometimes also how you can generate synthetic data, which will provide predictive information as well as historical information. We want to design systems that collaborate and adapt to improve quality, product quality, and speed of development, process reliability, agility, sustainment of the systems realization ecosystem. And these are going to be the main drivers of cyber-physical social systems. Issues to be addressed: information extracted from diverse data streams in real time will aid decision-making. So data mining techniques applied to big data are based on the premise that information is encapsulated in the data in some form. So you want to be sure that what you are looking at actually has relevant data and use that. And initial design iterations based on actual data and how you design things where partial or no data exists. Can you always build consensus when data streams do not indicate any reliable information or contain conflicting information? This is possible. And how you deal with situations where there is conflict is an important issue that you'll need to consider. And then synthetic data to be using the digital twins, the process that has been used in the early design process. So how can you do all this? Next. For the Internet of Commerce, so systems design and productization is driven to a large extent by the necessity to make a profit. This is not a surprise. So how are you going to make a profit? How are you going to go about doing that? The challenges to be addressed are: how can design anticipate the many ways in which the product can be monetized? And of course, select the most effective ways. As a result of network systems and ubiquitous design and data sharing, cyber threats are no longer restricted to the loss of privacy or financial design. So an urgent challenge is: how can designers inoculate systems against threats when the nature of the interaction among system components is unclear at design time? So all of these are opportunities. The choice is yours, what you want to do, but I suggest that strongly that you focus in a particular area and that you encourage both research and your education, your teaching in the same area of focus. Baruch, over to you.
Okay. So the key issue here is that we've identified what grand challenges are. We suggest that you need to come up with a mission and a vision that picks on a grand challenge. You collaborate with other institutions in Kerala and then around the world. And if you do these things, they all tie back to the 4 points that we identified as strong points that we are in harmony with from the National Education Program 2020. By no means is what Janet and I have said today complete. We are just seeding the conversation to get people at the end of this talk to get into a conversation mode, to chit chat. And then we can continue the chit chatting more formally in terms of meeting twice a month to figure out where is it that we would like to go together. So what we are now going to focus on is tell you what our current research interests are in the Systems Realization Laboratory. So who are we? There's Janet Allen, Farrukh Mistry, and Ashok Das. Ashok Das comes from Sanmoksha. He is a person in industry. He started Sanmoksha, and we work with him in terms of rural development. Our focus in sustainable development is designing for service, and that in itself is another talk. Our view in designing for service is to maximize the nexus between people, planet, and prosperity. People, planet, and prosperity. Sustainable development has been defined in COP26 as people, planet, and prosperity. We perceive evolving cyber-physical social system to be comprised of several services to be modeled as multi-echelon network, thereby ensuring the framework to be used to design it is agnostic to the services embodied therein. In other words, we are thinking from a systems perspective, and we wish to create an information ecosystem that is agnostic to the domain of application. If you think in terms of Microsoft Office, it's a great example of a service that is independent of the domain of application. Microsoft Office can be used in engineering, in the social sciences, in medicine, in what have you, because it's put together as a service that can be particularized by humans to attain a certain goal or objective. Our research thrust in the Systems Realization Laboratory in terms of sustainable development is data-driven harmonization of policies to further development that evolves and is sustainable over time. Observe our emphasis is on data-driven harmonization. We make a distinction between big data, where you have lots of data, you mine that data and say, this is what you can do, and predictive analytics that's necessary for designing for the future. We can talk about that more a little later. What are the deliverables that we are looking at? A cloud-based computational framework to support the making of policy. So this is something that in India, there are lots of computer science programs. All the institutions have computer science programs. And we are particularly interested in collaborating with folks in Kerala who would be interested in putting together an intelligent or a smart cloud-based computational framework to support the making of policy. We're interested in scholarly contributions, co-author papers, research monographs, etc. So there are two things in terms of this particular project. One is computational framework, and two is scholarly contributions. Now, what else is involved? What are the research issues? Model cyber-physical social systems. So it's a modeling of an evolving multi-echelon network that is agnostic to the domain of application. We are very interested in working with people at the fundamental level of network science to be able to make this happen, again, from the computer and information sciences. We want to model drivers for industry, government, and community. So what's the difference here? We believe that cyber-physical social systems can be modeled using government, industry, and community, or they must be modeled using government, industry, and community. For industry, they're interested in rate of return. Government is interested in social return on investment, and community is interested in social return on investment. What is the difference between social return on investment and a rate of return on investment? In a company in a free economy is interested in increasing value for the shareholders. That is return on investment. The government is interested in, say, healthcare, national defense, getting voted into office again, doing big things. That is social return on investment. They're not looking at, we put in this much money, what percentage of money did we get back? They will get some back through taxes, particularly through the GST that has been introduced a few years ago in India. And the community is not necessarily interested in climate change or national defense. They're interested in good roads, services, or what's going to happen to my child? Do I have enough money to educate my children, to get them married, set them up, and things like that? That, again, is a social return on investment. And so we are interested in working with people in the economics domain who are interested in identifying this, in modeling drivers for industry, government, and community. We are specifically looking for people interested in behavioral economics. That is, how do you get people to change their behavior through investment? We are looking for people who recognize the importance of a social contract within a community. Because as the cyber-physical social system evolves, in essence what happens is that the social contract between the government, people, industry changes. And so we're interested in working with people in Kerala who are interested in defining what that social contract needs to be. So we're interested in working with people who want to model the evolution of public policy. So if they have data, if they're able to use that data to advance or recognize how policy moves forward. In other words, what is the future state of the current system? How do I predict the future state of the current system? We all know that predictions, all predictions are wrong, only some are useful. So how do we do that? So we're interested in collaborating with faculty who are interested in predicting the future state of a system. And we are also interested in faculty who want to arrive at a method to modify the policy. So I get information from the system that I've been studying. How do I use that information to modify what I have been doing? In other words, how do I manage a complex engineered systems? Finally, we are interested in working with faculty in the broad area of verification and validation. In other words, if they have test problems to verify elements of what we put together, and they have comprehensive problems with data that we can use to verify the mathematical constructs that we put together, we are interested in that. The second one is looking at public policy. In this case is Janet Allen and Farooq Mistry. And our interest is, our specific interest is in mentoring the next generation of professors who are eager to learn how to create knowledge, archive knowledge, mentor others, and are recognized for their scholarship. So for example, we only take on PhD students who want to be professors. If they don't want to be professors, we encourage them to go and work with other professors. We only want to do that. And so if there are professors who are interested in working with us in education, for example, we would be keen to work with them. Our research thrust is as follows. We hypothesize that all grand challenges can be modeled as cyber-physical social systems. This is a hypothesis. This is not being proven. This is a Janetism and a Farooqism. Now, the grand challenges we've touched upon, we've shown you how they relate to the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. Public policy is foundational to addressing any grand challenge, hence evolving cyber-physical social systems to support policy making. The key notion here is that we perceive the evolving cyber-physical social system to be comprised of several services to be modeled as a multi-echelon network, thereby ensuring the framework to be used to design it is agnostic to the services embodied therein. So if there are people in mathematics, if there are people in network sciences, there are people in information sciences who are interested in working with us, we are interested in learning from them to make it happen. There are 4 disruptive innovations that we are interested in. We are looking for sustainable solutions, that is, solutions at the nexus of people, planet, and prosperity for rural development, designing for service, dynamic management of engineered ecosystems. And again, on the right-hand side are the research issues. They're exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether we're doing public policy or we are doing sustainable development. The research issues are exactly the same. We have published 5 monographs. There are 4 that are relevant to today's talk. A 5th one comes out next year. The first one is architecting fail-safe supply networks. So we have a network. And in a network, what happens is that we want material, information, whatever it is, flow to go from one point to the other point, and we want to control that to make it the most efficient and cost-effective. The second part is if there is a disturbance in the network, that means the network fails. It needs to be, the structure of the network has to change. Then how do you do it? People have studied the flow through the network, and people have studied if there's a break in the network, how to make it happen. I want to be so bold as to say we are the only people who can do both simultaneously. This work is based on 2 dissertations, Shabnam Rezapour and Amir Hussain Khorsajedi. The second monograph deals with architecting network engineered systems. Out here, what we focus on is dynamic management of an engineered system. And we talked about it, that if you implement a policy, you review the impact of that policy, and then you come along and say, how should the policy be changed after recognizing what the future state of the system is likely to be. And this, again, is useful, and this is based on the PhD dissertation of Yelena Milicevic Sayed. The third one deals with architecting robust co-design of materials, products, and manufacturing processes. Architecting robust co-design, that is, people and the system work together to design not only the material, not only the product, not only the manufacturing, but all three of them simultaneously. The emphasis in the key area, the importance in this particular monograph is how do you manage uncertainty? There are two ways of dealing with uncertainty. One is mitigating uncertainty, where you make the model more as accurate as possible until you get the perfect model, but that's impossible unless you are you have huge computer powers and you can do Monte Carlo simulations, or you manage uncertainty. You accept the level of uncertainty that you have, and you make the best possible decision that you can make out of that. And this is based on Anand Balu Nilipalai's dissertation. The fourth monograph is architecting a knowledge-based platform for design engineering 4.0. This is a very important issue because we need to know the functionality of a platform in the cloud that allows us to do the sorts of things that we have identified in this talk today. And this is based on three PhD dissertations: Zhenjun Ming, Ru Wang, and Anand Balu Nilipalai. All the people who are listed out here are professors. All but one. Shabnam Rezapur is at Florida International University. Yelena is at Cranfield in the United Kingdom. Anand Balu is at Florida Institute of Technology. Zhenjun Ming is and Ru Wang are at Beijing Institute of Technology. We have a fifth monograph that comes out next year, and that is based on the PhD dissertation of Lin Guo. She is at South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. And this is another topic that we can talk about, or give a talk later on if you're interested, and that deals with architecting satisficing strategies for designing complex systems. So what are we saying? We have done some foundational work in this particular area of cyber-physical social systems. We can share all these documents with you. We can work with you on that. We can work with your PhD students, your master's students, your undergraduate students. What we want to get out of this is to be able to co-author papers, to co-mentor students with you. We are not looking for you to send us your students and say, these are good students, forget about you. We are interested in the context of NEP 2020 to work as co-equals with you to take this further. We cannot do it on our own, and we see the opportunities in India to be absolutely mind-boggling and fascinating to behold. So we are shooting for 2047, and we would like to be able to work with you. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing our screen. And first, what I suggest is questions for clarification. Anything that you'd like to ask for clarification? I did not understand that. Could you help us? Two, if you're interested in collaborating with us, let us know. We will take your name and email down, and so will Bobby. And we will then continue the conversation with another Zoom conversation in terms of where we go and what happens. So with that, back to you, Bobby and Praveen.
Yeah, Professor Jaimon, who is the center coordinator, the nodal officer of this particular center, please come forward. You could coordinate the proceedings further. You could invite people for the discussion, and also at the close, maybe you can have concluding remarks also. Please, Professor Jaimon.
Any questions, please, sir?
Yeah, please proceed.
So, dear friends, as we conclude this enlightening session, it is my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all who have made this.
No, Professor Jaimon,
yeah?
There are people who will be in discussion. Please invite them for discussion, I say.
Yes, sir. Hello? Is there any questions, please? Please?
Can I? Hello? Can I make a comment, please?
Go ahead. Just raise your hand, unmute yourself, turn on your thing, and just talk, and we will answer. Go ahead.
Okay. No, it is just a moment that I shared with Ashok Das. In fact, we are together in the ISV projects, IEEE Smart Village projects, and he was telling me that you were his mentor for a long while. So it was nice to talk to him about this, about your talk that we were listening to. I suppose I know Ashok Das a little closely, and I'm very happy to say that he considers you his mentor. And since you are inviting all of us to join you, I would be happy to join if it is possible for me.
Great. So Ashok Das is part of our team in terms of rural development and making things happen. Yeah. So from a nation building standpoint, in terms of moving India up in the rankings in terms of GDP per capita, Ashok Das is critical. Yeah. And should you be interested in making that happen, we are very keen to make that happen. The model that we have in mind is that we get universities involved in designing for service. And that includes two parts to it. One is a experiential learning program where you learn by reflecting on doing, using the village as a living laboratory. And the second is by providing an extension service where you mentor the people in the villages, the micro entrepreneurs, so that they get the skills necessary so that they are empowered to continue the development in terms of what is happening. So we have a full model in terms of what's to be done. We have elements of the curriculum that could be introduced at your institution that could be done as well. So that certainly is something that we can explore. Ashok has just landed in India yesterday, and he was not able to join us today. He was asking me for the next 2 weeks, and so, for the next 3 weeks. And so certainly, if you put your email in your chat, I will get back to you, or Praveen can give us your email.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Maybe you'd like to talk about why spending 45 minutes or 50 minutes with us was valuable. What is your takeaway? What is it that got you thinking? What is it you'd like to explore more?
So, am I audible?
Yes.
I'm Dr. Jamina. It's more of an observation. Maybe I would like you both to comment on it. I found your findings regarding the CPS system that can work for sustainable development. I was thinking of Bourdieu's theory of capital, and could you just tell us how it can be utilized, the social capital, economic capital, and the cultural capital, using this particular theory of CPS system for the rural population in Kerala?
That's a great question. What each of these things about social capital, economic capital, and intellectual capital that you've talked about deals with this notion of a social contract. What is the social contract between the individuals, and how is it that this social contract can be implemented and harmonized to move people towards a collective goal? This is a very open question. Why is it an open question, particularly in India? Because in India, there's the issue of caste, there's the issue of religion, there's the issue of state. So people are different, they have different values. So how do you come up with a social contract in terms of where you want to go? This again, here is something based on my 5-month stay at IIT Jodhpur. I really don't believe at this stage one can have a social contract for the rural community at the national level. It is very state-based, region-based, because the cultural mores are very different, and that influences how you move forward. So I'm very interested in working with people to address the issue that you have brought up. In particular, what is the new social contract? What are the parameters out there? And why do I say this? Because there's a big change taking place in how you view capitalism. Capitalism, for example, in India, the government came out with the Corporate Social Responsibility Act. It's a formal act that came out in 2000 and something, where 2% of the profit of every company has to be used for social need. This doesn't exist in other nations. How are you going to exploit that? How are you going to use it so that you see that the value of what has been done indeed contributes to nation building? How do you make that happen? We are interested in those issues. And if you're interested in talking about them, developing them, doing research in that area, we certainly are interested in proceeding. We don't have an answer. This is something that has to be evolved in the context of a cyber-physical social system. The cyber-physical social system is a new construct that we can explore. And so things have to change. Does that make sense, Jamuna?
Yes, yes, that's exactly what I too was thinking. How could this particular CPS become applicable to the rural population in our state, especially with regard to the kind of capital that Bordeaux talks about? So I was just thinking of it. Thank you, Professor.
Yes, sir. Myself, Dr. Vinod Kumar Jacob. I have two questions. One is, in the initial design iterations, we can have actual data as well as synthetic. Is there any proportion of actual and synthetic, or can't we do it totally with synthetic data? So that is the first question.
Okay. To answer that, it depends on the product that you're dealing with. In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. This would be interesting question to explore with different examples. So the issue you have raised is correct, but it's that I don't have an answer. We don't have an answer for that. Second question.
Okay, sir. Second is, in the changing scenario, in the AI scenario, studies are saying that about 40 to 46% of job types are going to be vanished by 2030. So how can we address that? How can we equip the students, or how can we maintain the workforce in tune with the changing technological landscape?
That is a fundamental question. And I want to quote, share with you a quote attributed to Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones that are most adaptable to change. That is the key issue. We have to educate, provide an opportunity for our undergraduates, graduates, professors to learn how to adapt to change. And regrettably, my limited understanding of what is being done in India in engineering at the undergraduate level does not provide the opportunity for students to learn how to adapt to change. The curriculum is focused very much on problem solving. This is the latest, this is the best. Hey, guess what? You do this and everything will be all right. So you keep giving new courses, giving more courses, introducing people to new tools, but not how to adjust, how to think for themselves. And this is one of the big differences that I found in my education at IIT Kharagpur and ending up at Berkeley, where the focus was on encouraging us to think, encouraging us to ask questions, encouraging us to explore. I believe, this again is a Farukism, that at the undergraduate level in India, we teach too much. There are too many courses. And the time is taken up and the students are extremely well trained in solving difficult problems, running programs, doing all this sort of stuff. But they don't have the time to learn how to think, to learn how to explore, to learn how to adapt, to learn how to establish their professional identity. This is very, very important. It is important for every individual, man or woman, and woman, professors, everybody, to be able to identify what their professional identity is. That is not taking place in India. We have this idea that if the people took one more course and then you one more equation or one more this or one more that or one more the other thing, we've equipped them for the rest of their life. Not true. This is a Farukism.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any questions, please?
Excuse me?
Comments? Anything?
Please, Asma.
All right. So let me pose a question. What would you like to do next? What is it? You spent about an hour of your Sunday evening with us, which is very precious. It takes you away from family, takes you away from dinner, stuff like that. Why was it worth your while to listen to us? What would you like to continue with us? How about Nihala? How about Preetha? How about Rajashri? How about Sanju? Go ahead. Okay, Praveen and Bobby, I think we have a quiet audience.
I think me, I will actually, if no queries are there, we will go to the to close the session. But sure, we will be interacting with you. We will connect any kind of interaction. I mean, mails they want to forward to you. We will surely interact with the participants, and we will keep in touch with all of them to know about their ideas. They might be reluctant to speak now. They will definitely will have ideas and thoughts to share with you. We are sure. So as the journey has started, we will slowly build up block by block in which way we can proceed. So we'll get back to you with the interaction, what are their views and all. We'll shape our future course of action based on that. We'll surely do that, sir. So if there are, Madam, thank you for your talk also. So we'll close this session with a note by vote of thanks by Professor Jimon. I call upon Professor to carry on. Professor Jimon.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, dear friends, as we conclude this enlightening session, it is my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all who have made this event possible. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our distinguished speakers, Dr. Janet K. Allen and Professor Faruk Mistry, for the invaluable insights on grand challenges as cyber-physical social systems. Your expertise and dedication to advancing knowledge in cyber-physical social systems have greatly enriched our understanding and inspired us all. A special thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kerala Technological University, Dr. Saji Gobinath sir, Registrar Praveen sir, Dr. Bobby Phillips sir, esteemed syndicate members and our expert team members for our unwavering support and presence today. Your commitment to fostering academic excellence is truly commendable. To our dedicated research scholars, research supervisors, students, and faculty members, thank you for your active participation and enthusiasm. Your curiosity and dedication are the driving force behind the success of our Center of Excellence. Let us continue to collaborate, innovate, and push the boundaries of technology and engineering together. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor and Madam, for valuable presence and enlightening talks. Thank you.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.